head coach of the MDI Trojans. And Coach, big news is that the game on that was scheduled with Houlton on Friday at 7 has been switched to Thursday night, October 30th, with a kickoff at 6 p.m. now.
Right, right. Yeah. So Mr. Dow and I have been monitoring the weather, and it's one of those things. It was supposed to be pretty iffy Friday night.
There's no ifs about it. I mean, it's going to rain all day.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they're saying a 50% chance of showers, but I mean, they're talking substantial rain Thursday night into Friday, and that, even though the field's dry right now, it could be a mess by the time Friday night came around.
Yeah, no doubt, Chris. And I think it's supposed to be heavy winds maybe Friday night as well. And
Yeah.
it wasn't going to be very enjoyable to be out there. And then, you always have to think about the safety of the players. If you're on a real slick field, obviously there's a greater risk of injury and that sort of thing. And so he came to me on the practice field yesterday, being Monday, and he said, "What are your thoughts if we move the game to Thursday?" And we had done that a couple years ago against Gray New Gloucester, I remember, for a regular season game. And as far as preparation, it doesn't change a whole lot. We were able, fortunately, yesterday. Typically on a Monday, I have the guys work out in the weight room, and then we look at tape. But yesterday I decided, where it's a playoff week and we'd already played Houlton, that we didn't need to look at tape on Houlton. They'd already seen Houlton. So we went right out on the practice field and went through all our special teams, our offense and our defense. So we're feeling like, we're probably pretty much where we would be
a day ahead.
going in. Yeah, exactly. So tonight being Tuesday, it will be our, so-called work night, where we'll continue to go through our special teams, our defense and our offense and our breakdown drills, that sort of stuff. And then Wednesday will be a little bit different. Like, I don't think I'm going to treat, I've been thinking about this. I don't think I'm going to treat it like a typical pregame, that day before. I still feel like I want to run some plays against my defense, which I normally don't do. Normally I just line up in formations and I talk about what the team's going to do, just reinforcing what they'd already learned. But I feel like I will have, my look team offense run some plays. And then offensively, I would imagine Elias Byrne and Chris James will do the same. They usually do. I mean, they run plays the day before, but sometimes they'll run against air and not against a look team. So
it's easier to block air too.
Yeah. Every play is a touchdown usually. Even if we fumble it, we pick it up and we take it to the end zone. So that makes us feel, a lot better going in. So, So, what it is. There's certain things, we talk to the kids all the time. There are certain things we can control and certain things we can't control. Weather is one that we cannot control. So we'll make the most of it. Houlton's dealing with the same thing as far as their preparation. So,
for those people that say, we always used to play in the rain, and there would be 12 inches of snow and we would play. And I mean, times change, people get smarter, and you want to have the families to be able to be there. And let's be honest, the only person that's going to be comfortable in a driving downpour in Bar Harbor is me in the press box. And
right.
And you're not going to get any kind of fans there. I mean, you want everybody to be able to go out there, cheer everybody on, and I think it is a smart thing to do. Plus, then we can go trick or treating.
Yeah, right. And I mean, if we played on Friday, for starters, it's Halloween, so you might lose some fans, and I get that just because of Halloween. And then if it's a driving windstorm and rain, and that's going to scare away some people, and I don't blame them. So I might just watch that on my couch on Huddle if I'm going to watch the game, So,
Right.
but like we said before, at the end of the day, it really does come down to the safety of the players, and I think this is definitely the safest bet to play it Thursday night.
Right. So you've got you played Houlton the first week of the season. You won up there, but things change over 7 weeks. I know that you've had the opportunity to watch Houlton in games during this season. What do you know about the Shiretowners?
Yeah, great point, Chris. We played them week 1. Now we're week 9. So that game really doesn't mean anything. I talked to the kids last night, and I said, you can forget about that first week game against Houlton. That means nothing. And I mean, we talk about that all the time. When it comes to the playoffs, it really doesn't matter. I mean, there are no records. It doesn't matter what score you beat by, somebody by, anything like that. None of that matters anymore. So, Houlton is a team that's dangerous because they have some skilled kids that are going to be faster than anybody we can put on the field. We learned that when we played them in week 1. I knew that going in. They have a couple of guys. I know number 44, one of their wideouts, running back. They put this kid everywhere. He's faster than anybody that's going to be on the field. So he's a handful to stop. And then they have some good-sized linemen, and they have some good-sized backs. And their quarterback, he's only a sophomore, but he's really good, number 7. So they're a lot to stop defensively for me being the defensive coordinator, because I was looking at their formations, and I don't know, there's like a dozen formations that they could come out in. And this team typically comes out in new formations in games. So they'll catch you off guard because pretty sure Thursday night they're going to come out in a formation we haven't practiced against. So that's always a concern. So we have different rules as far as our defense based off what we see and what defense we're going to be in. And then us offensively, once again, because they do have size up front, that's going to be a concern, and they have good linebackers, and they have good skill kids on the outside. So they really are a good team. They've won as many games as we have, right? They're 3-5. We're 3-5. Pretty much beat the same teams. We beat Ellsworth. They beat Ellsworth. We beat Waterville. They beat Waterville. And then they had a game, I think it was Washington Academy. We didn't play Washington Academy, but we're very, very similar as far as our records and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's the playoffs.
Right.
First thing yesterday, I had a team meeting, and I talked to the kids about the playoffs, and I talked about, some games that I've coached in, some games that I've played in that, you might think going in that you're potentially the favorite, and I've been in games where I thought that I was the underdog, and it just doesn't matter. It's who gets it done that night in that 2.5-hour span that's going to move on in the playoffs.
Obviously, ball control is going to be key on Thursday night because the field's going to be wet. I mean, I'm sure the field's going to be wet. So hanging on to the ball is going to be paramount.
Yeah, no doubt. And this time of year, all grass fields are getting pretty rough, right? I mean, we have multiple teams play on our field, and you're right. I've always said in close games, it comes down many times to special teams and turnovers. If we put the ball on the ground 3, 4, 5 times, we ain't going to win the game.
Right.
We're going to lose our playoff game, and we're done for the season. So we're hoping we win the turnover battle, and we hope we win the special teams battle. We don't want to give up any big plays on special teams, and maybe we get a couple big plays. We'll see. But, with us being so tight the way we are with Houlton, I think it will come down to those two things.
It's hard. I mean, especially if you're playing on a wet field or, with as a defender. I mean, if you've got a quarterback that can pass, the offensive receiver knows his route. You as a defender, you're backpedaling and then turning and trying to keep up with that defender. So you're at a you don't have as good a chance to defend when the ground's wet, because you don't know where they're going, and you can slip.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely, Chris. So, um, right. So the offense always has the advantage, right? They know what the play is. The defense, based off their keys and what they see, formations, tape, film study, what have you. They can have an idea what it might be, and then the ball snapped, and then you
Right.
find out what it is, really is. But right. So a team that the offense who's going to throw the ball, those receivers know where they're going. So if it's a wet field, the ball obviously is going to be slippery. So that's a disadvantage for the offense.
Right.
But the receivers know, and the quarterback knows where those receivers are going. And that's a huge advantage because the defender, if it's slippery, they're already at a disadvantage because they don't know where the receiver's going. And now the field is slippery, and that might slow them down to get to where they need to be.
One of the things that MDI's had difficulty, I mean, you've been up against a couple of great quarterbacks at Yarmouth and Orono. And both of those quarterbacks have had the capability to scramble, like, I mean, collegiate scramble type level. I mean, the way that they were cutting across the field, and I mean, it wasn't like a little 10-yard scramble. They were going back 20, 25 yards and going left to right or right to left. And that your offense or your defensive line, they're going out there. But I mean, at what point do you say maybe we got to drop back or not rush as many if you can't get to the quarterback?
Right. So we faced, I would even lump Lake Region's quarterback. He was really good as well,
Yeah.
6. And number 7 for Houlton, he's a guy that can throw and run. So you're right. He's a double threat as well. So, yeah, I mean, defensively, it's a cat and mouse game sometimes. I mean, some coaches believe your best pass coverage is to put pressure on the quarterback. So some coaches are blitz heavy. Some coaches believe in getting to your zones, and that's how you're going to stop the pass game. But when you add that element of the scrambling quarterback, then that makes it really difficult. But because if you're dropping to your zones, which you should be as a defensive back, and you're right, if that quarterback somehow gets around or gets through that defensive line, typically there's a lot of room, a lot of field to run. So
Right.
it's tricky for sure. So you're right. We need to contain number 7. If he's running around all night, then we're gonna have problems.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you go. We won't talk on Thursday because I'm assuming you're going to be busy Thursday getting ready for the game and getting everything field set up and things. So we'll count this as our one coach's show for the week. What do you want to say to the fans? Obviously, we want as many people out there in their rain gear and cheering on the Trojans.
Right. Yeah. So once again, the game's Thursday night at 6:00. And right, as many people as we can get out there. It's a playoff game. It's a huge game for us and Houlton. The winner of this already, you're in a Northern Maine championship. So that's big right there in itself. So yeah, if you can come out, I know it's a busy time of year, but if you can come out Thursday night and cheer us on, the kids really do feel that, when there's a big crowd, the kids feed off that energy. So it'd be great if we can get as many people out there as possible.
All right, Coach. Best of luck. We will see you Thursday night again. The game will be broadcast on WDEA. We'll have our pregame starting at 5:40, and go Trojans.
Thanks, Chris.